Hi everyone, it's Joe from Homegrown Musician and welcome back to another video. So personally, I've been an Ableton user for around about 6 months now. I used Logic and Pro Tools before that, but I got Ableton last Christmas and it's completely revolutionised how I make music. I love it. However, as I'm sure you're all aware yourselves, whenever you get a new piece of software or kit, you end up spending more time Googling how to use it than you actually do making music. So in today's video, I thought I'd speed the process up a little bit for you, and here are the top 10 most useful shortcuts that I found I've needed whilst learning Ableton. Now, I myself am a Mac user, but all of these shortcuts will work on PC as well. Whenever I say the word command, just swap it out for control and it'll work just fine. So, without wasting any more time, onto the first shortcut. So the first shortcut is probably the simplest, but also the most important shortcut in the whole video. By pressing the tab key, you can swap between Ableton's two main views, the arrange view and the session view. So in arrange view, Ableton works like pretty much every other DAW. A playhead moves from left to right, and when it passes either audio or MIDI clips, it just plays the sounds associated with them. So if you've used, say, Logic, Pro Tools, Cubase, almost any other DAW, you'll be pretty familiar with this. Now, session view is more Ableton specific. It basically works on banks of clips where you can drop either audio or MIDI. Now, you can trigger each clip individually using your mouse or a MIDI controller, or you can trigger multiple clips at the same time by clicking on banks. Now, this is a really cool way of composing and it's very different to every other DAW. It's one of Ableton's biggest selling points. So when you load up a new Ableton project, there'll be 4 tracks in place already. 2 audio tracks that you can record onto or load samples into, and 2 MIDI tracks that you can use to control virtual instruments. If you want to add more tracks, you can use the shortcut Command-T to add audio tracks and Shift-Command-T to add MIDI tracks. In Ableton, you select Instruments, Plugins and Samples in the browser window on the left-hand side. Now, by default, Ableton comes with loads of free instruments and samples, and if you have third-party packs, you'll probably have even more, so it's a good idea to mark your favourites for quick access. Now, you can select your favourites by highlighting what you want to mark and by pressing any number key from 1 to 7. This will then associate it with that favourite category, which you can see on the left-hand side. Now, you can associate things to multiple favourite categories, but if you want to clear that, you just need to press the 0 key. Now, if you want, you can actually rename your favourites categories for easy access. Simply highlight them and press the shortcut Command-R. To add and remove favourites categories, simply hover over the word favourites and the edit button will appear. When you click on that, you can then check which categories you do and don't want to be shown. So an empty MIDI track won't actually do anything. It'll need to have a MIDI region in it full of notes to tell it what to play. To make a MIDI region, simply do as follows. Highlight a chosen area and press the shortcut Shift-Command-M. Now, this is still an empty MIDI region, so it won't actually do any good. So you need to double click on it, move down to the editor window, press the B key to select the pencil tool, and then you can start drawing notes in, which the MIDI track will play. In Ableton, you can actually edit regions that you've recorded or drawn in to make them better suit your needs, so that could be making them shorter or even longer. Now, if you want to cut a region, simply highlight the area that you want to cut and press the keys Command-E. This works for both audio and MIDI. If you simply click on an area and press Command-E, a dissection will be made at that point. If you want to join 2 or more clips together, again either audio or MIDI, highlight the clips and press the shortcut Command-J. So sometimes in Ableton, you'll want to make very specific edits, so say for example chopping out a singular word or maybe fixing a very small mistake in a recording. Now, these are pretty finicky procedures and you'll want to use as much screen space as possible. So to zoom in on an area, simply highlight the selection, press the Z key on the keyboard and it will take up as much screen space as possible. You can then do the edit or whatever you want to do and then press the X key to return back to the original zoom point. So like many other DAWs, Ableton has really extensive automation features. Now, automation basically lets you adjust parameters over time, so that could be something as simple as increasing or decreasing volume, or maybe opening up the frequency on a filter. Now, to use automation in Ableton, simply press A on the keyboard and the automation overlay will appear on every track. From here, you can choose which parameters you want to adjust. Now, in any software, setting value parameters in things like synth and automation can be a pretty annoying process. Small movements on a mouse or trackpad can make a massive change to a value, and it's really annoying to fine-tune things. By holding the Shift key down in Ableton, you massively decrease mouse sensitivity, which makes it easier to find the right value. Not only that, if you click on a knob or parameter and can see it's highlighted, most of the time you can actually type in the value that you want. Now, my final shortcut's actually a bit of a creative one. To reverse any sample in Ableton, simply click on it and press R on the keyboard. Now, reversing audio samples is a really cool little sound design trick because it instantly changes the timbre and feel of any given sample. Now, personally, I use this to make little quick-fire risers, especially out of things like backwards snare drums and cymbals. So that actually brings us to the end of today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and maybe you've even learned some new shortcuts yourself, means you can actually get on with making music as opposed to just Googling for hours on end. If you know any shortcuts that I've missed out in today's video, please leave a comment down below because I'd love to hear them. And please remember to like, share and subscribe as it'd massively help the channel.